I went to check out The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind without prior knowledge about this story, and my oh my was I impressed by this musical. This is an RSC production that has just made its London transfer, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about it before you go check it out. The power of this musical lies in the fact that this is a real-life story about William Kamkwamba, a Malawian teenager who built a windmill out of scraps in his village to help his family and community survive a prolonged period of famine and drought. Before this true story was turned into a musical, it was also a best-selling novel, which is how you might know it, or a movie, which was also highly acclaimed and got many awards. So for anyone coming to see this in the West End, you can rest assured that this is a story worth your time. So how did the musical deliver this? I need to fully disclose that I have not had familiarity with this story before, so for me this was very much a new experience, and I went into it without any expectations, and I was really impressed by the way that the story was delivered, because it is really nicely balanced between happier moments in the show and just the conversation about family and community and the village, but it is impactfully contrasted by challenging conditions that William has been brought up in, because his father didn't have money to pay for his fees, so he needed to drop out of school. So truly this determination to build something that can transform his village comes from William himself, with very little support from people around him, making the story even greater. The musical allows you to explore a few parallel stories, and I do think that they are weaved into each other very skillfully. So we have the main narrative about William and his determination to build the windmill. We also have his friendship with Gilbert, which is very fun and playful, and the two of them are almost the opposite sides of the same coin, and they really complement each other well. Besides this, there are two love stories that we're witnessing. One is between William's father and mother, and then William's sister and his teacher, and both of them are represented with a lot of love and care and support for all the characters involved. Due to famine, William's sister Annie is forced to leave the village so that she can, as she say, leave them one less mouth to feed, and that is also a heartbreaking moment in the story. Then there is a beautiful puppet of a dog which showcases the relationship between William and this pet that he has adopted. And what this musical has done so well is that it brought a village of people together, and you can sense this from the very beginning of the musical, because it starts with characters entering the stage and chatting to the audience, and this is powered by the fact that Soho Place is a theater that has seating in a circular way, so we're all surrounding the stage and the characters are able to chat to us. And this first 5 to 10 minutes of the show are literally dedicated to different character entrances and them chatting to the audience, which was a great way to warm up for the show, especially with the birds chirping in the background. You really felt like you were transported somewhere else in the middle of this very vibrant village. Well, there are some characters that are there for comic relief, like the teacher. There is also one particular character that is there to signify what is brought upon this village and kind of the looming fear that people in this village live in because of the potential of drought taking their crops and basically them not having anything to eat. And this is represented by a hyena delivered by Shaka Kalako, who has no words in the entire show but has incredible movements, and he's circling around people, and it's just that spooky presence that you wish sometimes would go away. In particular, there is one moment where the hyena is taking more and more people as famine strikes and more people are joining him in this dance, and I really enjoyed that scene so much because it really powerfully demonstrated the devastation that the village has been experiencing. The beauty of this musical is that it really tries to honor the origins of the story and incorporate Malawian language Chichewa, which is the language that William speaks in, and there are quite a few phrases that are delivered in the show in Chichewa, but you're still not losing any context and meaning because right after that there is a continuation of dialogue in English, and this really helps stay engaged and get exposed to a new language, which was, I think, brilliant. The score of this musical is very vibrant and uplifting and is influenced by traditional Malawian music. There are some great percussion numbers and just generally a lot of good energy and vibe is brought on stage with dancing and many energetic numbers in the show. On the opposite side, there are a few heartbreaking numbers. In particular, I remember a song between William's mother and father about allowing their boy to pave the new way for their village and how they need to support him. And both actors delivered this performance so well, and both of them had like tears in their eyes. It was so moving. And there was also a really impactful moment in the show delivered by the father, who feels the heaviness on his shoulder to save his family. I think that the last element of the show, when they have actually built the windmill, that moment in the musical really felt the story come together so nicely. It would take me a few times to listen to the soundtrack to find my favorites, so I wouldn't say that maybe the score is the most attention grabbing and the one that has stayed with me immediately, but I felt really good while I was in the theater and experiencing it. So there are plenty of good numbers that are really complementing the story, and it really feels like a unique piece of theater. I haven't been in a similar show recently where I really felt like I'm transported to a completely different world. And this is also helped by amazing costume design, which is full of colorful materials and great hairdos, and generally a lot of simplicity in the outfits, but it really looked great on stage and it felt authentic. The set design is fairly simple, and initially when I saw it, I kind of expected a bit more, especially because Soho Place is a theater that doesn't really have the proscenium arch and that traditional setup, and I feel that this has been imagined for that traditional setup. So there were parts of the seating section that were used as a stage, and that's where parts of the set design were placed. And because I've been to Soho Place a few times and seen quite a few shows there, this felt a little bit odd at first, but I think that they navigated the space really well and again capitalized on what Soho Place as a theater offers, which is that immediate connection with the audience because they're right there next to you, and they use the entrances from all different sides of the stage really well, so it worked. And in particular, I really enjoyed the set design at the very end where the windmill came together, and it really felt like a big moment. There were parts of the stage that were used in the grounds, such as there was an element of crops and land being in there, and I think it was interesting and it definitely helped tell the story. However, it was not maybe as impactful as it would be if this was a larger portion of the set. But I think it really worked for this show, and it contributed to a very smooth transition between set design and changes in costumes, and just generally helped deliver a very vibrant show. The cast really felt like one big community and family, and I think that was probably the most important message of the show, because community is at the very heart of it. And quite a few characters had a few different roles to play, and this was really interesting to see how they navigate and how they change and how this impacts the dynamics on stage. So overall, I think that this is a great group of people and artists delivering a show that is really important and heartwarming, and ultimately has that encouragement to dream big and fight for your community and think about the impact that you can have on your community, especially in the world that is growingly individualistic. This is the time when you are thinking, how can I do something similar and what would it take? So this story is very inspiring, and at the very end there is also a segment from the TED Talk from real William Kamkwamba. So all of these elements contribute to a really beautiful evening in theater, and I would highly recommend for you to check this show out. If you know the story, I think you will not be disappointed by the musical, but if you don't know the story, I would urge you to go even more, because as someone who didn't know the story before, I really feel like I resonated with it, and I can't wait to now get engaged with the movie and the book and learn more about William's story, because it is really one that is worth telling. If you want to go and see the show, you can do so until July 18th, and if you're interested in hearing more about the shows that I'm looking forward to seeing this year, then check out this video.